Hello there everybody, so Butter92k Name here. Welcome back to Umineko. Now, I'm going to go ahead and emphasize this. Okay, two things I gotta discuss. Wait, maybe three things. Fuck, I don't know. First thing, I'm going to do 2 episodes of Umineko in the coming days. Because one of you was kind enough to tell me that there's been some sort of copyright issues with the next Danganronpa trial. So, after I get done recording that, it's going to take me a little bit longer to edit it in a way to where, obviously you guys don't miss out on anything, but to the point where I don't get in trouble for some sort of copyright, because one of you guys was kind of telling me that apparently the next trial seems to, a lot of channels have been kind of messed with, or given copyright strikes because of a certain execution. That's not much of a spoiler because almost all trials end in execution. We should know that by now. But apparently there's been some copyright issues for one reason or another. So editing the next Danganronpa video is going to take me a little bit longer because I want to do it in a way where you guys aren't missing out, but I again, emphasizing, I don't want to get a strike on this channel. I want to avoid that at all costs. So there's going to be 2 episodes of Umineko in the following days. Instead of, the Umineko Danganronpa pattern, it's going to be 2 Uminekos for 2 days. Next thing I'm going to announce, I just ordered the Elgato, and I think that's supposed to arrive sometime next week, whether it'll be Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. So I'm kind of excited about that. That way I'll finally be able to go back to adding some PS4 recordings. It might be a little hard to do so, but I can finally get back to doing that. So that opens up the possibilities for gaming. And I've written down some of the suggestions that you guys would like to see. I've written down a couple of them. But anyway, I'll probably do a video where you guys basically do like a voting thing where I kind of put the titles of the various games that I can do a let's play of, and then I'll let you guys like put your votes into the comments below. I'll tally them up, and because I don't know how annotate. I don't know how to do like a. I don't know how to set up a voting poll for my channel yet. I'm sure there's some way to do it, but I don't know how to. So probably if I can't figure it out by then I'll post. Then I'll tell you guys to just post your votes into the comments below. And the third announcement is, so I heard that they just released the trailer for the Dark Souls 3 DLC, and I believe it was called The Ashes of Ariandel. I haven't seen the trailer yet, but I might do... Nah, fuck it, I'm not gonna do a reaction. I'm just gonna watch the trailer. I mean, reactions are freaking terrible as it is. So ignore pretty much what I just said. Let's just get back to this. Let's continue with the Ushiromiya family and continue with Umineko. The Ushiromiya Family Conference was held once every year on the first weekend of October. If a normal family were to hold a so-called family conference, you'd expect it to be nothing more than a reunion of rarely seen relatives who greet each other around buckets of sushi or something. However, part of the family's great fortune had been lent out to grandfather's children, and no one in this family was considered an adult until they had met with success in business. So this meeting literally was a conference. How much of the fortune was invested? What sort of business was conducted? How much profit was earned? As a result, how much of the fortune borrowed from the main family could be repaid? Or possibly, how much more would be borrowed for future business ventures? What lessons had they learned, and what could they learn from their mistakes? It seems that topics like these were discussed very seriously in the past. My dad said it was like lying on a bed of nails. Apparently, it used to be a very serious family meeting, where people were bathed in scornful and angry voices, and some people even got slapped despite their age. However, that had become a thing of the past. Now with everyone pursuing their own business ventures and achieving success, it was becoming more of a normal yearly get-together. Even so, telling grandfather about recent events was extremely stressful. So while it was nothing more than a simple get-together for us grandchildren, it was still a real stomachache for our parents. The absence of the man who was the source of all this trouble, regardless of the reason, probably made today's lunch taste much more delicious. The phrase, While the demon is not around, everyone can relax comes to mind. I've never heard that. Anyway, let's introduce Jessica's father, whose face I haven't seen for 6 years. The man sitting to my father's left is his older brother and Jessica's father, Uncle... Kraus? Yeah. This name sure is easy to read. Kraus. Now that we've gotten used to this string of weird names, our perspective is totally skewed. So Kraus doesn't actually seem that bad. Not really telling from his face, though. It even starts to sound kinda cool. Oh, you're talking about his name. Just like with Aunt Natsuhi, I didn't have any memories of speaking with Uncle Kraus. He had never been one to chat to children, and I felt like he was always talking with the adults, just like Aunt Natsuhi. According to my father's gossip, he was a spiteful and violent man. If what he said is true, Uncle Kraus used to be very domineering from his position as the oldest sibling, and was despised by all the other siblings. Though, despite that, those siblings all seem to be chatting happily together. Oh well, even if their relationship was bad when they were children, sometimes when people grow up and live apart from each other, their relationship changes. Oh, their relationships change, my bad. That's probably what this was. After all, they all had children of about the same age. By sharing the same family environment, they probably profited by exchanging opinions. Maybe because of that, a short while ago, the circle of parents began to discuss the exams Jessica and I would be taking. Jessica, in order to escape questions about the exams from my father on her left, purposefully faced right while firing off a rapid series of comments, not giving him any chance to get a word in. Moving on, let's look at the opposite end, the end opposite from Kraus and the others. In the very last seat of the table, an old gentleman with a sturdy physique sat facing Kide-san. This was my first time meeting him. He's the doctor, remember. I had only just been introduced to him, but it seems he's grandfather's personal doctor, a man called Nanjo. I heard he used to own a huge clinic on the nearby island of Nijima, but he turned it over to his son and began living a life of leisure in his old age. He had known grandfather since the very beginning, when the mansion was first constructed on this island, and had built up a relationship over several decades. I thought at first that the two of them might have gotten to know each other through grandfather's suspicious hobbies, but it seems he was actually grandfather's chess partner. I see. That kind of hobby seems very like our grandfather, well, with his love of all things Western. Nanjo's probably the only person who could enter Rokenjima despite being neither a family member nor a servant. He looked like a calm old gentleman as he listened to the discussion between Kiri and the other women, who sat near to him. Considering how long he stayed by the side of our short-tempered grandfather, his generous heart was probably nothing to laugh at. I imagine he's a nice guy. Still, even if he was a family doctor, having anyone outside the Ushirame family attend the family conference was a little odd. It made me think that grandfather's condition might have worsened so much, it'd be a major topic of discussion at today's conference. After all, George said something like that just a second ago. Something about how we've been getting continuous reports since around last year that grandfather didn't have long to live. It's nasty to think about it, but consider how rich grandfather is. At the time of his death, his wealth will suddenly be released, probably along with a fair share of our parents' stomach acid. And it'll lead to ulcers for everyone. After all, this sort of thing just gets messier when there's more wealth to be divided. There's a good chance they'll be talking about stuff like that at the family conference. Still, it's not like it's got anything to do with us kids. Finally, even though he hasn't shown up, let me introduce our grandfather. This person, who should be sitting in the Insipience chair, is Ushiramiya Kinzo. It really sucks. Everyone else in the family has these weird names, but he's got this perfectly normal one himself. If only his name were written Kinzo, but he let us call him Goldsmith or something. I'd totally freak out. As you can probably guess by now, he's a frightening person with an extremely short temper. No shit. I'm one of his grandchildren, not a son, and I haven't seen him since elementary school. Thanks to that, I have no memory of being beaten myself, but our parents were apparently raised with an iron fist. That earlier conversation between my dad and Uncle Kraus about who should go convince grandfather to calm down seems pretty darn funny once you know their background. Oh, you can't really tell grandfather's story without covering that pivotal event back from the Showa era, 1926 to 1989. Oh, we're getting a big flashback here? Until the Meiji 1968 to 1912 and Taisho 1912 to 1926 eras, the Ushinomiya family was great and prosperous. They owned several spinning mills, making them rich enough to just double over laughing every day as the money kept rolling in. Incidentally, grandfather was a member of a branch family and had pretty much nothing to do with the main family. Not only was he way down the list of people who could inherit the headship, but he had hardly any contact with the glamorous main family. Really? However, during the Great Kanto earthquake in the year Taisho 12, 1923, the mansion owned by the Ushinomiya family in Odawara was flattened. The spinning mills in Tokyo were all burned down in a huge fire, and the Ushinomiya family lost most of its wealth and family members in an instant. Whoa. Okay, so once they started trying to figure out who the successor to the Ushinomiya family should be, they apparently found no one remaining except Kinzo and his branch family. In Kinzo's later reminiscences, he referred to this as a good fortune so great that it overturned fate. With that, grandfather's boring, everyday life did a 180. He was entrusted with reviving the dying Ushinomiya family, which had lost nearly all of its wealth. However, just because he had been entrusted with this task didn't mean he could accomplish it. Apparently, those around him weren't really expecting much. However, this is when grandfather began displaying his extraordinary talent and good luck. Grandfather used all the family's remaining wealth, as well as everything from the hair on his head to his toenails, as collateral in order to borrow a massive amount of money. Once he'd built up a gigantic war chest, he immediately invested in businesses. It was like someone tumbling down on a hill on a bike without any brakes, and then jumping onto a neighboring bike and then another one. Just like some crazy street performance. I'll bet everyone thought grandfather had no business ability whatsoever. Probably. However, after several miracles and turns of good luck, with coincidences piling up and every chance taken advantage of, he was suddenly in control of powerful connections with the occupying forces. At that time, MacArthur and the GHQ were the ultimate authority in Japan. Grandfather, in a twinkling of an eye, began succeeding in business under the protection of the occupying forces, quickly becoming very rich. By this point, it's probably safe to say that information, not luck, saved the day. He must have had some seriously deep connections with the occupying forces. Grandfather knew beforehand about emergency demands that would be made for the Korean War. No, there was more than that. He must have predicted those emergency demands from the very beginning when he started investing his money. The history books make it sound like all of Japan made a large profit off of the emergency demands during the Korean War, but that isn't actually true. Only a very limited number of the super rich played the money game and made an easy profit. Most of the citizens remained poor. In other words, grandfather was a member of this extremely lucky group of winners. I'm pretty sure this all happened during the year Showa 25, 1950 or so. The Great Kanto earthquake happened in Taisho 13, 1924, so that means grandfather was able to revive the near-dead Ushinomiya family in only about 20 years to a level even higher than it had ever been before. With that, you'd think he'd revive the main family in Odawara. But for some reason, he went and did something as crazy as buying an entire small island in the Izu archipelago. Buying an entire island is not something that you can ordinarily do today. However, grandfather was clever. He contacted the GHQ and applied for the establishment of a marine resource base. He acquired this island as a business property, then tossed that project aside and claimed it as his own plot of land. After the war, there were prevention measures against food shortages, and having the sponsorship of the GHQ meant that nobody could oppose him. From what I've heard, the Tokyo metropolis of that date offered this land to him practically for free. Later, Tokyo made difficulties by telling Kinzo to return the land, but the pushy GHQ intervened. Anyway, it seems under-the-table bribes did their work well. In the end, the city gave up in frustration. Grandfather, with considerable skill and good luck, managed to weather the stormy seas of that period, obtaining a vast fortune in his own island. Of course, it probably wasn't all luck. He was obsessed with all things Western, which helped him cultivate his English skills. He was able to use this to his advantage and sink his teeth into the GHQ. A mansion was built on the island soon after. This mansion, in fact. Grandfather, with his love of the Western style, made this once uninhabited island a canvas upon which he could realize his dreams to his heart's content. He now had the Western mansion of his dreams, overflowing with emotion and atmosphere, and a beautiful garden featuring all sorts of roses. And he had a private beach where nobody other than himself would ever be permitted to leave a footprint. Okay. This would be a dream come true for any boy. After that, he made a good use of his huge fortune, becoming a large stockholder in the extremely stable iron and steel industry, and was able to live an easy and comfortable life, just using the dividends. Well, he's just that incredible. This kind of person usually has the ability to foresee and predict the future, or at least that is how they're portrayed about the fact. After the fact, sorry. But Grandfather denies all of that, repeatedly saying he was simply blessed with extraordinary luck. Anyway, even a lord like that can't help but grow increasingly eccentric when locked up alone on an island where all his dreams are made real. Everyone knows that he's had a Western obsession from the start, but none of our parents really know when his bizarre black magic hobby began. Did his love of black magic begin way back when he became fascinated with everything Western? Or did his miraculous stretch of good luck while reviving his family cause him to feel a mysterious power in himself? At some point, Grandfather began to make the research of black magic his life's work. He filled his study up with suspicious books, chemicals, and magical items as it became increasingly bizarre. From what I've heard, those around him warmly watched over him, figuring that someone who had achieved success in life had a right to do as he pleased, but there's no way that's true. They're probably just creeped out thinking, that's disgusting, I don't want to get involved. Anyway, that agitated period was an age of big gambles, with both opportunities and risks. Let's say Grandfather was born in this time period. He would have had no opportunities and would probably have advanced like a chess piece from mandatory education to college at a leisurely pace, never becoming more than an average salary. If that happened, he'd probably have sat somewhere happily talking behind his boss's back. No, not in a fancy dining hall like this, more like at a table in some bar. Then again, I'll bet this family conference would be a whole lot more relaxing if that were the case. Okay, that's enough about the old geezer. More importantly, let's talk about this incredible lunch. Oh, goody.
前菜の刺身のサラダで俺はすでに確信してたね。幸田さんは大したシェフだぜ。しかも魚は近海で取れたやつだろ。スーパーの刺身とはわけが違ったぜ。おいおいよせよバトラー。育ちがバレちまうだろうが。
Everyone let out a big laugh. Damn it. You say that even though you love those cheap pubs.
僕も仕事の都合で珍しいところで食事をすることもあるけど、それらと比べてもこれは合田さんは多分その道じゃ少しは知られた人だったんじゃないかな。
よくは知らねえんだけどよ。老舗ホテルでのれん分けだか派閥の分裂だかややこしいことがあってよ。
Really? Huh.
そのトラブルで辞めざるを得なくなっちまったんだってさ。
Oh, okay.
それでその時、偶然お袋が使用人の求人を出してたわけなんだよ。
Bad timing, though. As Goda removed the empty plates, he began to recount his own bumpy past without losing his smile.
世の中というのは難しいものです。しかし、そのおかげでこうして今日、後ろ宮家で再び料理人として腕を振るう機会を賜ることができました。大勢の方の笑顔も嬉しいですが、お仕えすると決めた限られた方々にだけ喜んでいただくために繊細なお仕事ができるのもとても楽しいことでございます。これもすべて機会をくださった奥様のおかげです。
Goda-san respectfully bowed his head towards Aunt Natsuhi.
応募のあった中で合田が一番腕が良かったからです。客観的判断に基づくもので市場はありませんので感謝には及びません。
Dang, why does Aunt Natsuhi always have to sound so indifferent? If only she spoke with a bit more kindness, she might leave a different impression. Shannon-chan and Kumasawa-san entered from the hallway with a serving cart.
失礼いたします。
Please excuse us.
I don't even know why I answered that. They were
本
talking.
日のデザートに移らせていただきます。
Goda-san and the others laid the beautifully adorned dessert out in front of us all. I guess it's true when they say you have another stomach for dessert. I thought I'd already filled up on delicious food, but as soon as I laid eyes on that dessert, my stomach started yelling, "More!" I don't know much about desserts, but this looked really good. A white pudding-like substance was garnished with 2 shades of red sauce, and elegant rose petals adorned the dish. Normally during a high-class meal like this, you're supposed to wait for the chef to extol the virtues of this particular meal before eating. However, Maria was completely indifferent to strict rules like that, so she got excited by this beautiful and delicious-looking dessert, jumping into the fray as soon as it was placed before her. Aunt Rosa scolded her, calling it bad manners, but George responded by saying, "Now, it's okay."
こっちの酸っぱい、こっちの酸っぱい。バトラ、こっちのは外れ。
Eh? Maria exclaimed as she sampled the 2 colored sauces.
なんだと？当たりと外れがあるのかよ。よし、俺も味見をしてやるぜ。
Apparently one sauce was sweet and the other sour. Sweet and sour sauce? Despite it being bad manners, I also stuck my little finger in and licked it. Whoa! One of the sauces was sour enough to make you pucker up. If it were yellow, I'd have suspected lemon, but I couldn't guess what kind of sourness would be red. I decided to ask Shannon, who was putting away the serving cart behind us.
シャノンちゃん、この酸っぱいのは何のソースだい？
Shannon-chan hesitated. Maybe her job was to set the table, so she doesn't really know. Still, even considering that, she seems pretty stressed. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. Or did they use some ingredient that we'd be better off not knowing about? While Aunt Natsuhi made a gesture that seemed to indicate an oncoming headache, Kumasawa-san, who was setting the table at the opposite seat, began to chuckle. Huh?
何の材料を使っていると思いますか？驚きますよ。
全然わかんねえぜ。というか、熊沢のばあさんがそういう笑い方すると不気味でならねえぜ。で、何なんだよ、正体は。
Seriously, what is it?
内緒ですよ。
Okay.
お耳を拝借。
Okay. Kumasawa-san leaned across from the other side of the table. I leaned forward myself when she asked. Their interest caught Jessica, George, Aniki, and of course Maria also put their ears closer.
この酸っぱいのはですね。
What's it made from?
実はお魚のサバの絞り汁ですよ。
サバ？
That's crazy, we all thought, horrified. Only Maria accepted it, nodding sagely.
ほー、サバは酸っぱいよ。絞ったらこうなる。
When Maria started clamoring that mackerel were sour, the adults were unable to contain their laughter.
違うわよ。酸っぱいのはしめ鯖でしょ。
Only Aunt Rosa, her face red, whispered to Maria that mackerel is sour only once prepared as shimasabe. Now I totally remember. Kumasawa-san was always like this, wasn't she? I think I remember her tricking me too in all sorts of ways when I was young. The most lethal has got to be that one. Those flimsy black things in Chinese dishes. They're kikurage mushrooms. She told me they were penguin meat and I went all around school like a smartass telling everyone, didn't I?
熊沢のばあちゃん、相変わらずだな。マリアが信じちゃうだろ？
冗談ですよ。今からゴーダさんがソースの正体を教えてくれますからね。
Okay, so what is the sauce? Goda looked a little put off about this masterpiece being laughed at for such a bizarre reason, but after clearing his throat once, he introduced the dessert to us.
それではデザートのご説明をさせていただきます。本日はご来賓の皆様が大層お気に入りでございましたバラの庭園にちなみまして、パンナコッタをローズガーデン風に仕上げてみました。
Panna cotta?
散らしてございますバラの花びらは 当家の庭園より先ほど採取してきたものでございます。ソースはストロベリーとローズヒップの2色の赤をご用意しました。ストロベリーの甘味とローズヒップの酸味を交互にお楽しみになってください。なお花びらは観賞用となっておりますので、避けてからお召し上がりくださいませ。
Well, yeah, of course. Don't eat the freaking rose petals.
それではどうぞお楽しみください。
Whoa. Man, I almost want to applaud before eating. Just like with medicine, reading the detailed description first seems to make it work a whole lot better. As Goto-san elaborated on the details of this dessert, it started to feel even more appetizing. Seriously, should you call him subtle or just talented? I can't remember if there was an auto mode for this. This dessert was probably planned from the beginning, but taking the hint when we all stopped in front of the Rose Garden earlier today, he displayed an incredible and timely awareness by just adding a few rose petals from that garden. Its combination of sweet and sour was also exquisite. If it was just sweet, you'd just get used to it and bored halfway through. But if you reach the sour sauce at that point, you'd get a really vivid taste. And then, once you return to the sweet sauce, all of the sourness in your mouth would be replaced with an enjoyable sweetness. I'm sure everyone else felt the same way. Every time Goto-san passed by one of our seats, someone praised the taste in his presentation.
いかがですか、奥様。
相変わらず見事です。お客様をおもてなしするに値します。
恐れ入ります。奥様、ご存知ですか？ローズヒップには頭痛に効く効果もあるそうですよ。
Really?
奥様に特にお気に入りいただけるかと思い、特別にご用意させていただきました。
そう。ありがとう。
I guess that was nice of him.
ほら言ったでしょ、夏日姉さん。ローズヒップは頭痛に効くって。
Oh yeah, that's right. Wait, did Kitty-san say that?
みたいね。聞くといいんだけど。
ゴーダさん、あんたには惚れるぜ。なあ、後であんたの待遇を聞かせてや。無理ならあんたの星に年収、指立ててくれるだけでもええんやで。あんたの腕が、この島だけで独占されとるのは人類の食文化に対する冒涜や。その腕、わしの会社で振るって、お客の皆さんを喜ばせてみる気はないかのう。
He says he likes being able to provide for a large number of people. That would be a good choice. That would be a good offer, I think.
秀吉さん。
Are you trying to steal away our Goda?
これは困った。ゴーダの待遇をもっと良くしないと引き抜かれてしまいそうだ。
そうした方がいいわね。じゃないと引き抜かれて、3食が熊沢さんのサバ料理にされちゃうわよ。
ほほほほほ。これは手厳しゅうございます。すっかり根に持たれてしまいまして。
Yeah, probably. Everyone let out a huge laugh. According to Jessica, Kumasawa-san's mackerel jokes were a running gag that our parents had long since gotten used to. Kumasawa-san often claimed that mackerels had precious nutritional value, which could slow aging, make people smarter and more. Supposedly, while it couldn't stop the outward signs of aging, it helped prevent aging on the inside. Since she was still spirited enough to tell these kinds of jokes at her age, there must be something to that theory.
それでは失礼いたします。夕食にはふるって、たくさんのサバ料理をお召し上がりいただきますので、どうぞご期待くださいませね。
期待してるよ。
Now this actually seems kinda nice.
今晩はしめ鯖でキュッとしゃれ込みたいぜ。
それは素敵ね。ついでに日本酒の美味しいのも出てこないかしら。
ございますよ。四軒島名物のサバ焼酎なるものがございまして。
I haven't. Kumasawa-san, together with Shannon-chan, bowed and pushed the serving cart away. It was pretty funny to watch Goda-san, who looked like his show had totally been stolen, explain in a serious voice that we would be having a calf steak for dinner.
熊沢さん、さっきはありがとうございました。
Hmm? As she pushed the serving cart, Shannon bowed her head very deeply.
もう、お礼を言われることなんてありません。
Kumasawa may have played dumb, but she had obviously understood and saved Shannon in the nick of time. Back when Battler had asked about dessert, Shannon had unfortunately hesitated. Oh. There may have been several ways to dodge the question, but all of them would have required some quick wits. Shannon, who hesitated when hard pressed for a response, was always suffering because of this small weakness. If only Shannon had a little of the craftiness needed to cleverly shake off a mistake, like Goda, her life would have been a lot easier. Or a bit easier, sorry. The fact that she could perform other tasks flawlessly made this weakness even more unfortunate. Oh, that's sad. However, there were some who understood Shannon's honest nature, her inability to gloss over a mistake and draw attention away from it. That was why Kumasawa had smoothly come to her rescue.
さっき源氏さんが午後のシフトに変更があるとおっしゃってましたよ。確かシャノンさんは夕方までお休みがもらえたと思いました。羨ましい。
すみません。シフト表を確認していませんでした。
そうそう。オーブンでこれからちょっとサバを焼こうと思ってるんですよ。
I guess she was being serious.
お休みの前にちょっと手伝ってくれると嬉しいですね。
はい。喜んでお手伝いさせていただきます。
That's nice. To Shannon, Kumasawa was like a mother among the servants. Aww. She does seem that way. Like watching over Canon and Shannon. I like that. The dining hall needed to be cleaned up, so we were chased out. Instead, tea was being served in the parlor. Apparently, they'd prepared the black tea that Aunt Rosa had bought for Aunt Natsuhi. I know I said aunt and aunt, I just changed it up on the fly there. Maria said she also wanted to have some black tea, but my old bastard said she couldn't and told his children to go play outside.
バトラ君、みんなで表に散歩に行かないかい？
バラでも見に行ったらええ。でも、天気には十分注意するんやで。空はまだ明るいが、天気予報はふるふると繰り返しちょる。
I like you, Hideyoshi.
マリアは海がいい、海がいい。
あら素敵じゃない。砂浜で遊ぶなんて普段はなかなかできないものね。
I thought it was a private beach that we're not allowed to go on.
そっか。よし、じゃあみんなで浜辺でも行こうぜ。行こう。マリア、服を濡らさないようにするのよ。靴もよ。濡らさない。
素直で可愛い。バトラ君、マリアちゃんの面倒ちゃんと見てあげてね。
おうよ、任せろ。ほう、お前もキリエに頼まれると素直で可愛いじゃねえか。
That makes me feel very uncomfortable hearing it from the dad.
たま
That's
には
very
俺の言うこと
uncomfortably
も
weird.
素直に聞いてみろよ。へっ、まっぴらごめんだぜ。行こうぜ、みんな。ほらほら。
The children flew out of the parlor. Oh, Genji! They were replaced by Genji, who pushed a serving cart in and prepared to serve the tea. The parlor was filled with a sublime aroma which delighted everyone while they waited to sate their thirst. I wonder how...
ルドルフのところは家族仲がいいじゃないか。良いことだ。よせよ。兄貴のところには負けるぜ。
そうよ。ジェシカちゃん、本当に可愛い。これも夏日姉さんの教育の賜物ね。
Well, Jessica doesn't really like her parents, though, from what I understand. Natsuhi answered coldly. The conversation broke off then, and the parlor fell silent. Maybe Hideyoshi couldn't bear the silence because he broke it himself with an exaggerated gesture.
しかし、成長は早いもんやで。いつまでも子供だと思っとったが、図体はみるみるでかくなり、いつの間にか大人の仲間入りや。バトラ君なんか見違えたで。
体は大きくなりましたけど、まだ子供です。うちの主人も、未だに子供ですけれど。
子供と大人の境ってどこなのかしらね。私、未だに大人になったって自覚が持てない。
情けないじゃないか。
That's not something the mother of a child should say.
そうね。私たちももう子供じゃない。大人同士よ。だから感情的にならず、知的な会話をしたいわね。
When Ava smiled with sharp sarcasm, everyone seemed to get more tense. It felt as though that pleasant tea aroma had been tossed out the window.
知的な会話なら昔からいつも心がけているじゃないか。お前の嫌味は時に的を外している。昔から変わらない。
昔からいつもですって？あらあら。その言葉をきれいに放送して、何十年か前のこの部屋に届けてあげたいわね。ねえ、ローザ
Okay, I think this is not good. Rosa gave a vague smile. She knew that, whether she agreed or disagreed, she'd earned the displeasure of one of her siblings. It was a bit of worldly wisdom that had been essential for someone growing up as the youngest sibling.
よせ
So
よ、
she
姉
can't
貴。
pick sides. Oh?
ガキどもがいない間に、本題に入ろうじゃねえか。それこそ知的な話よ。
As Rudolph glanced over the faces of all present, some let out a slight sigh, and some let out a small look of resignation across their face. They were approaching their unavoidable true agenda.
去年の時点で余命3ヶ月だったんだ。ってことは、すでにマイナス9ヶ月ってことじゃねえか。いつお迎えが慌ててすっ飛んでくるかもわからねえ状態ってことだぜ。
当主様は今でも健在でおられます。このような不穏当な話を日も明るいうちからなさろうとするなど、ルドルフさんの正気を疑わざるを得ません。
だがな、夏日さん。こういうしょっぱい話はいざことがあってからじゃ遅いんや。今が元気だからこそ余裕あるうちにしとくもんなんやで。
Okay.
これも財産のエチケットみたいなもんや。
諸君の関心は親父殿のようじゃないか。南條先生、あなたから説明してくださいませんか。彼らもそれをお望みらしい。
Okay. Nanjo, who had been standing by the window and staring out the rose garden, let out a single cough when he realized that he was being called.
南條先生、お父様の具合はどんな感じなんですか？
まずはじめに、私が去年申し上げました余命3ヶ月という言葉が一人歩きをしているようですので、その訂正からいたします。
言われずともわかるわ。余命というのはあくまでも見込みであって約束ではないとおっしゃられるのよね。
さようです。ですから皆さんからたびたびお尋ねを受けますが、いつ亡くなるのかということは決して人の命は体と心に支えられております。
And judging by the fact that he has supposedly lived 9 months after his expected time of death, his predicted one, I guess, then he's got one hell of a mind and body, despite the fact that he sounds like he's as you saw from the title of that one video, Ravings of a Madman.
体が弱れば危うくもなりますが、それを補う心の強さがあれば小康状態を維持することもあるのです。
So if his body is becoming So despite the fact that his body is becoming weaker, his mind is compensating for the lack of strength.
体はともかく、
お心はまだしっかりしていて、意気健康でいらっしゃれるということですね。
キリエ、すまんがしばらく黙っててくれ。
ごめんなさい。
The hell?
さようです。金蔵さんの体はすっかり病魔に蝕まれましてや、あのような強いお酒をたしなまれ続けてはとても。崖っぷちなのも酒のせい、ながらえてるのも酒のせいか。酒豪の親父らしいね。
それで先生、もちろん見込みで結構なんですけども、お父様、来年の今日まではさすがにどうかしら？
当主様に対してあまりに無礼な質問です。
She always seems to refer to him as the family head. Natsuhi jumped on Ava, not even bothering to hide her astonished expression. Ava stared back daringly, but Hideyoshi realized what was going on and tried to smooth things over with a forced smile.
夏日さん、カニーナ。エヴァ、お前も少し言葉を選ばんか。
ごめんなさい。お父様の容体が気になって仕方なかったもので。
I somehow doubt that.
そうですか。それは気づきませんでした。
南條先生、聞かせてやってください。父親の寿命を気遣う娘の麗しい家族愛じゃないですか。
Kraus laughed sarcastically, and Ava, smiling sweetly, returned an identical chuckle.
来年までお元気かという質問ですが、医者の私としてはとても難しい。この小康状態がまだしばらく何らかの発作が来れば、その時にはどうしようもないかもしれません。何しろ六軒島は孤島です。すぐに救急車が飛んでこれるわけではありません。本来ならば今度のしかるべき大病院に入院していただきたいところなのですが、
親父殿は高尚な研究を中断されたくないと仰せだ。去年無理に連れ出そうとしたのがあだになったらしい。外へ出れば病院に閉じ込められてしまうのではないかとひどくお疑いになられていたな。
Probably.
すっかりこのざまなのだよ。
南條先生の診察は受けておられるの？
親父殿は南條先生には心を許しておられる。機嫌が良ければ診察も受けられるようだな。
容体を見はするが、薬を勧めようとも入院を勧めようとも聞き入れてくれ。本当に見るだけですがな。
お医者嫌いの方もおるもんや。しかし困ったもんだの。
Nanjo sighed deeply. The purpose of an examination is to determine what medical treatment would be appropriate. Receiving an examination and then not following the advice given makes the whole thing pointless.
つまりおさらいすると、相変わらず余命は3ヶ月。禁止のまま、あとどれだけ長らえるか見当もつかねえってことだ。
ルドルフさん、言葉を少し慎まれてはいかがですか？
ああ、すまんね。昔からこういう口の利き方なんだ。勘弁してくれ。
南條先生のご意見は分かりました。クラウス兄さんから見てどうなの？
実を言うと南條先生とは異なる意見でね。とても余命3ヶ月の重病人とは思えないというのが本心だ。怒鳴り声は相変わらず健在で、いつぶん殴られるかとヒヤヒヤしっぱなしだよ。長男にだけ親父の世話を押し付けるのは実にフェアではないね。
来世では俺より後に生まれろよ。さて、話を戻そうぜ。そんなわけで、公正中立なお医者の先生の見解じゃ、いつお隠れになっちまってもおかしくない状態だ。兄貴には悪いが、ここは専門家の意見を採用させてもらうぜ。となりゃ、決して親父の財産を話し合うことは、時期尚早ではないってことさ。
Oh boy, the discussion that all rich families must come to.
お父様の個人資産は、 おそらく数百億にも届くでしょうね。
Several 10 billion yen? How much does that equate to? Okay, my knowledge of yen to American currency is clearly lacking. I heard that, okay, I may be wrong, but, okay, if I had to guess, wouldn't 2,000 yen equal maybe about 18 American dollars? You know what, fuck it, I'm gonna look this shit up after the recording. I'm gonna look up the, actual currency, the currency there between American USD and Japanese yen. Anyway.
でもそれは、綺麗な現金で揃ってるわけじゃないわ。お誕生会のケーキみたいに、綺麗にナイフが入ってカットできるほど単純じゃないでしょ？
姉貴の例えは面白いな。そうさ。ケーキの上には、イチゴやらチョコの家やらが乗ってて、綺麗に等分するのが難しいことだってあるだろう。
They're comparing money to cake.
それを加味して、どういう風にナイフを入れるのか先に相談しておくのは大切なことだと思うぜ。
それを当主様が存命のうちからさも他界なされたかのように声高に議論される皆さんの気が知れません。
あら、必要な話よ。だって遺産相続はその時点で直ちに行われなきゃならないものよ。ましてや栄光ある後宮家の財産は莫大。
They're still just basically talking about money.
事前に入念な相談が必要なことはお分かりでしょうが、当家の資産は、あなたのご実家とは大違いなんだから。
失礼な。
Whoa! Different face there.
私の実家は関係ありません。
Natsuhi responded indignantly, though in a low voice, and the already dark atmosphere grew even more hostile.
予算買えば夏日さん、堪忍な。口が悪いのは許したってな。
Ava seems to be the one instigating a lot of this shit. I'm kind of glad that Hideyoshi seems like the kind of guy who would, you know, try not to take sides and try to come to a peaceful resolution. From what I'm seeing, he seems like that kind of guy. I may be wrong, but that's just kind of the message that I'm getting. So, Hideyoshi, you're good in my book. Hideyoshi tried to smooth things over by glancing at both with a forced smile, but it only resulted in making the hostility between Ava and Natsuhi even more intense.
これ以上はお邪魔なようですな。失礼させていただきましょう。
Nanjo rose from his seat and exited the parlor. To an outsider, it may have seemed like a normal act of courtesy, but his back was watched by several glances envious of his ability to escape. After the doctor had exited and his footsteps had disappeared into the distance, Kraus recrossed his legs.
つまり、お前たちの言い分はこうかね。親父殿の余命は短い。遺産分配について早急かつ具体的な協議に入りたい。何を焦っているのかね。確かにお前たちの言う通り、後宮家の財産を算定し分配するのは簡単なことではない。
Shouldn't it be split evenly?
なれば、じっくりと算定すべきじゃないのかね。お前たちは今晩のうちにもケーキを切り分けたいと焦っているように見える。そうだろう？どうぞ。何を焦ることがあるのか
ね。焦ってるわけじゃない。でも、兄弟の間での取り決めは必要。それはいつでもいいことだけれども、お父様の具合が悪くなっていて、その日が近づいているというなら、先に話だけしておいても、それは請求とは言わないと思うし。
Rosa shot a glance at Ava and Rudolph. As the youngest sibling in the family, it was hard for her to be cross-examined by the eldest.
ほう、それはお前の本心かね。兄弟で一番素直で綺麗な心を持っていたお前が、そんなことを言い出すとは思えんね。そこの二人に吹き込まれたんじゃないのかね。
よせよ兄貴、ローザだって兄弟だぜ。親父の遺産に公平な権利がある。関心を持つのは当然じゃねえか。親父だっていつかは必ず死ぬし、それは遠い未来の話でもない。むしろ兄貴が悠長すぎるくらいさ。
まるで遺産分配から話をそらしたくて仕方がないように見えるぜ。
それはどういう意味ですか？主人にやましいところがあるとおっしゃいたいのですか？
Probably.
まあ、夏日さん。話は聞いておくなはれ。
兄さん、今は大変強気だそうじゃない？そうよね。去年以降、空前の好景気で円は上がる。ドルが100円に至るのだって夢物語じゃなさそうよ。それに、与党は来年頃に保養地整備法を成立させようって言うじゃない。
Health Resort Maintenance Law?
今や日本中のリゾート開発会社がどれだけ軍資金を集められるかって奔走してるところよ。
詳しいじゃないか。これから日本には空前の好景気が訪れる。親父殿が後宮家を再興した時と同じくらいの大規模な需要拡大の時代がね。日本国民は死に物狂いで働き、高度経済成長を実現して世界で一番豊かな国民となる。国民の消費は増大し、それを回収できる施設があぶく銭を手にする時代になったのだよ。今や国民のニーズは3種の電化製品ではない。スキー場、ゴルフ場、総合プール、リゾートホテルにテーマパーク。数年前に開業したデルゼニーランドには行ったかね？
Disneyland? Really? I got the reference.
素晴らしい遊園地じゃないか。あそこでは大人も童心に帰り家族で楽しむことができるんだ。かつて家族を顧みずに滅私奉公することだけが美徳だった時代はもはや終わろうとしている。我々は世界で一番豊かな国民としてようやくそれを享受できるようになったのだよ。
クラウス兄さんの読みは大したもんや。わしも数年前に聞いた時はそんなアホなと思ったわ。でもな、G5 のプラザ合意聞いてから変わったんや。
Generation 5 Nation Plaza.
円はみるみる強くなり、地価はこれから天井知らずに上がるやろ。日本が世界経済の中心になる日も遠くはない。兄さんは時代を見る目のあるお人や。それだけは間違いないで。
秀吉兄さんに同じだ。兄貴は10年越しで時代を読めてるよ。その嗅覚は親父譲りだろうな。大したもんだぜ。だが親父と違ってちょいと見通しのタイミングを読み違っちまったところはあるよな。
兄さんは必ず日本が好景気を迎えると信じてあちこちにリゾート計画を起こし、そのほとんどで失敗し続けたわ。兄さんの読み通りの時代は確かに訪れつつあるけど、その時期を読むことには失敗したわね。早すぎたのよ。そして焦って清算して、結局は傷口を広げたわ。本当に嗅覚が当てになって好景気が訪れることを読めていたなら清算するわけない。これって、兄さんが自分で自分の才能を信じてない証拠じゃないの。
失礼な。主人を侮辱するつもりですか？
Probably. Natsuhi's forehead creased as she rose from the sofa. Ava, paying this no heed, stared at Kraus with a confident smile. Kraus, who also maintained his confident appearance, told Natsuhi to sit down.
よさないか、夏日。昔からこういう言い方しかできないやつだ。少し落ち着きなさい。また頭痛に触る。
兄さんに才能がない証拠は、私たちのすぐ近くにもあるわよ。だって兄さん、この島をリゾート化するって張り切ってたじゃない？
Turning this island into a resort?
素敵なリゾートホテルも建てて、庭園も綺麗に整備して、私は素人だから分かりかねるけど、相当のお金を使ったんでしょう。
だから何だというのですか？主人の事業はあなたとは関係ありません。
いや、そいつは違うぜ、夏日さん。六軒島は兄貴のものじゃない。親父のものだ。もちろん建てたホテルは兄貴のものだぜ。なんなら、俺たちは今夜の宿泊料を払ってやってもいいさ。な、ローザ。
それは、まあ、持ち合わせで足りるなら。
リゾート化できればこの島の資産価値は上がる。
Okay, so that's his idea.
支出がかさんだことは事実だが、未来に大きな収穫を期待できる。そうなれば、結果的にお前たちにとっても有益なはずじゃないか。
それはわかるわよ。この島の価値が上がればそれを遺産分配する時の私たちの取り分も増えるもの。もちろん、島や屋敷を4分の1ずつ切り取れとは言わないわ。それを算定したお金で解決してくれればいいだけの話よ。
そこまで分かっているなら、私の事業に何の不満があるんだね。
不満じゃねえさ。不安なのさ。第一兄貴。あのホテル、いつになったら開業するんだ？このままじゃ、俺たちの手垢だらけになっちまうぜ。
そうよ。大切な商売道具でしょ。確かに開業するまでずっと鍵をかけておくわけにもいかないわよね。少しは使って風通しを良くしないと建物は傷んじゃうもの。でも、私たちが年に一度泊まるだけのゲストハウスって言うんじゃ、ねえ、ローザ
そうね。あんなに素敵なら、オープンしたらさぞや人気が出るでしょうね。
ああ、あなたが前に言ってたホテルって、ゲストハウスのことだったのね。
So the guest house is the hotel?
立派なもんだろ？ローザの言う通り、オープンできたら人気が出るだろうよ。
The lodging they had been guided to wasn't originally intended to serve as a guest house. It was originally constructed as a resort hotel. However, even though it was built 2 years previously, there was still absolutely no prospect of it opening.
兄さんのいつもの事業と同じよ。着目や企画はご立派。そしていつも途中で立ち行かなくなって何も回収できずに終わる。
この島をただ住むだけにしか使わないのはもったいないって兄貴の。そしてリゾート化してマリンスポーツやらフィッシングやらハネムーンやらを誘致して盛り上げようってのはなかなか。俺だって長男だったならこの島を何かに有効利用できないかと頭をひねったに違いないさ。
でももう出来上がってから2年も経つのよ。2年経って未だに開業のめどはつかないの？
I'm guessing you're waiting for, I'm guessing you're actually waiting for Kinzo to actually pass away. I'm guessing. That's my
任せて
guess.
る管理会社はどこ？
失敬な。
That's not my husband's fault.
主人の仕事を請け負う会社間でトラブルが生じているだけで、うちはあくまでも被害者です。
しかし、クラウス兄さんが任せてるあまり噂は聞かんで。
はっきり言ってあげなさいよ。不払い横領トラブルで計画が空中分解しちゃったって話。また裏も取れてるんだから。
何の裏だか存じませんが、事実無根です。観光業への新規参入には、方々への根回しが必要になります。相手が信用に足りるかを測ることも大事です。それに手間取っているだけに過ぎません。
ホテルの完成が早すぎて勇み足になったことは認めよう。だが、維持費がかかってるわけじゃない。やがて大きな意味を持つ布石だ。
嘘つ、生産したくても売れないだけだろ。
What?
観光ルートの確立してない何もない離島にやたら豪華なホテルなんて買い手がつくわけもねえさ。それに事業に集めた融資はどうなってんだよ。
維持費はかからんでも返せん借金は膨らむ一方や。 すまんが、クラウス兄さん。この島の開発計画の話、ちょいと調べさせてもろたんや。正直、こっちもええ話は聞かへんのや。
秀吉さん、確かに今の財政状況だけを見たらそういう印象を持たれるかもしれない。だが、これは先行投資なのだよ。その読みを誤り、これまでに多くの負債を生んでしまったことは認めざるを得ない。だが、ようやく時代が私に追いついた。これまでに失った分はすぐに取り戻せる。いや、それどころか。これまでの投資だってやがては私の元に戻ってくる。
With the passing of Kinzo, I'm assuming. When you get the inheritance, I guess?
そう、例えるなら、放った稚魚が鮭となり、肥えて帰ってくるようにね。
I'm guessing that's what he's betting on.
それは認めるで。これからリゾート業界は空前の好景気を迎えるやろ。これまでの負債を埋められるほどかはわからんが。だがな、クラウス兄さん。これまで散々負け続けた兄さんが、どこから軍資金を調達したっていうんや。それも半端ない軍資金や。あれだけの穴を埋められる軍資金やで。
秀吉さんは何をおっしゃいたいのですか？
なあ、夏樹さん。ほんま怒らんといてえな。わしらも調べたんや。これまで負け戦続きのクラウス兄さんに、最近の強気な莫大投資を支えられるほどの融資を、誰が
結果、いねえんだよ。
Really?
弱り目と逆に張るのがマネールーレットの鉄則だ。兄貴はこの界隈じゃ、ちょいと知られた弱り目さ。確かに時代は好景気を迎えようとしているが、これまでの兄貴の失敗等を天秤にかけて、その上で、融資に値すると思う誰もいなかったのさ。
ならね、そのお金を、ってことになるのよ。
ほう。興味深い話じゃないか。それで？
あなた、このような暴言を、いつまで放置されるつもりですか？
座れよ、夏日さん。単刀直入に言おう。兄貴は、親父の個人資産を自分の事業に流用してる。
What? Oh.
これはほぼ間違いね
え。That's where he's been getting them. So he's been secretly using some of the inheritance before it was even given out.
これが俺たちの誤解だってんなら、どうかぜひそれを解いてもらいたいもんさ。
Or was he?
ルドルフ、流用なんてもんじゃないわよ。これは横領よ。
Yeah, that's actually the proper word, embezzlement.
刑事告発できる立派な犯罪なんだから。
無礼極まりない！仮にも、後宮本家跡継ぎの後宮クラウスに向かって、信じられない暴言です！
暴言じゃないわよ。図星でしょ？なんとか事業を成功させて、これまでの損失を埋めたいんだけど、その穴は広がっていく一方、博打の穴を、さらに大きく張った博打で埋めたいだけよ。その軍資金がすぐ近くにあったなら、手をつけるのは道理。
So he's using his own father's...
はっきり言うわ。兄さんがしているのは横領よ。お父様に対する裏切りよ。叱るべき決着がついた後には、司法に委ねることになるでしょうね。そんな輩に後宮本家跡継ぎを名乗らせるとお思い？
Not really, no. Whoa! Volva! You dare to claim that he has betrayed the head family? You no longer have the right to... Okay. Who's saying this? Is it Natsu? You no longer have the right to straddle the threshold of the glorious Ushiramiya family. Leave this place at once. Now! Get out! Natsu, who had already reached the limits of her anger, shouted at Ava in a rage. She then pointed alternatively at Ava in the hallway, demanding that she leave. Ava took out a folding fan and fanned herself with it, glaring maliciously at Natsuhi as though silently daring her to repeat what she'd said. However, her mouth was still smiling, curved in the shape of a crescent moon. In that unpleasant silence, Rosa gulped.
ねえ、夏日姉さん、誰に向かってそんな口をお聞きなの？
無礼極まりない主人の妹に対してです。これ以上は私も本家の台所を預かる者として聞き捨てなりません。大
In charge of the kitchen. That's kind of a weird thing to suddenly shout.
この名ばかりに思うが
Whoa! Whoa! Ava folded the fan with a snap and rose to her feet energetically. Compared to the elegance and playfulness she'd shown until a second ago, she was now unimaginably aggressive.
バカバカしい！お前が下がりなさい！この後ろ宮エヴァに！当主様の左肩を許されている後ろ宮家序列第3位のこのエヴァに下がれと？
Okay, she's officially lost it.
身の程を知りなさい！そしてお前のそのみすぼらしい姿を鏡に映してみるがいい！
What is the symbol of the wing on your clothes?
どこに片翼のわしが許されているのか？
Yeah, when you guys pointed it out, all the main members of the family have that symbol on their head. I'm guessing, but again, it looked like certain servants also had that symbol on there. So I'm guessing that they were highly ranked, or they were actually considered parts of the family, sort of. Or, fuck, I can't remember the details of what was written down. I have to look at that comment again.
貴様など、後ろ宮家の跡継ぎを残すためだけの存在じゃないの。
Oh, that is harsh.
身の程をわきまえるがいい、このゲス女が！
Ew. Ava's face twisted hideously as her words gouged into Natsuhi's heart like talons, wrenching at it. There were 100 ways Natsuhi wanted to respond. However, her anger and sorrow crushed her throat, and none of those words managed to make it to her mouth. Her anger had nowhere to go, and became a single hot tear that slowly dripped down.
何か言い返したいなら、どうぞ言い返しなさいよ。
You're a bit vile.
ほーら。
What's the word? Venomous, I guess. Ava faced her with a provocative gaze. However, Natsuhi could do nothing but tremble, her clenched fists quivering. Kraus quietly broke that powdered keg tension. Okay.
夏日、席を外しなさい。頭を冷やすといい。
Whoa. Natsuhi, resenting the fact that her husband had not come to her aid, shifted the focus of her attack.
あなたはさっきから何を言われているのか分かってるんですか？この人たちは言うにこと書いてあなたのことをお父様へ、私たちが後ろ宮家の栄光を守り。
They are making light of the fact that we protect the glory of the Ushiramiya family, even though we are constantly expending every effort to earn that glory from father.
お父様からそれを受け継ぐため、日々高潔であろうとするすべての努力をないがしろにして踏みにじる。なんという聞きがたい暴言！あなたもあなたです。どうして言い返さないんですか？あなたが言い返さないから私が言い返しているのに、さっきからあなたは私に任せっきりで、その私に頭を冷やして来いなんて言うんですか？いつも私ばかり。私はいつも真剣にこの家のことを考えているのに、それ
Natsuhi was already unable to hide her tears. She flew from the room in that state. After that, all that remained was a somewhat embarrassed mood about the parlor. When the sound of footsteps grew distant and silence returned, Kraus shrugged his shoulders slightly.
妻が失礼した。昔から感情を抑えるのが下手でね。私も苦労している。
あんなのに切り盛りされてたんじゃ、兄さんも気苦労が絶えないわね。
Jeez. Ava, you are just downright venomous.
Oh. 奥様。
何でもありません。下がりなさい。
Natsuhi flew into her room and threw herself onto her bed, lamenting. Those heart-wrenching sobs reached Kumasawa in the hallway.
おいたわしや奥様。奥様とエヴァ様は犬猿の仲。
Yeah, you could call it that.
このお二人の関係を説明するのは、女の私にはとても後ろ宮家は血を特に重んじられますが、嫁いで家を出れば、本来は序列から除籍されます。ですから、エヴァ様も本来は秀吉様とのご成婚の際に除籍されるはずだったのです。ところがこれは誰のせいでもありません。ましてや奥様のせいであろうはずもありません。神様の気まぐれとしか言いようがありません。クラウス様と夏日様にはなかなか子宝が授からなかったのです。何しろ男尊女卑の後ろ宮家でございます。妻は跡継ぎを残すための道具。
That's sick.
その妻が唯一の役割を果たせないのなら、もはや人間扱いなどされません。
It's even sicker.
当時の奥様が親方様からどれほど責め苛まれていたか思い出すのも苦しゅうございます。そんな中、エヴァ様に秀吉様とのご結婚の話が持ち上がりました。エヴァ様は狡猾でした。奥様がいつまでも身ごもられないことにつけ入って親方様に取り入ったのです。
Jeez.
入り婿を取って自分が跡継ぎを産むと吹き込み、ご自分の席を後ろ宮家にとどまらせるよう認めさせたのでございます。後ろ宮家に嫁ぎ、外様扱いの奥様と入り婿を取る形で血族として残ったエヴァ様は、後ろ宮家の序列の中では雲泥の差。しかもエヴァ様は先にそれも男児をご出産されております。どれほど奥様の立場がエヴァ様の前で弱いものであったか。お察し奥様にとっては、もし自分がすぐに解任することができれば、エヴァ様の入り婿など親方様に認めさせずに済み、今日のエヴァ様の増長を許さずに済んだだろうという悔しい気持ちがあるに違いありません。
Now I feel even worse for Natsuhi. Jesus.
しかし、それは奥様のせいであろうはずもない。
No, it wasn't.
すべては気まぐれな神様とジェシカさんをお届けすることが遅れたコウノトリのせいなのでございます。だからといって奥様にはそうと割り切れるはずもない。ただただ妻としての責務を全うできなかったことに、女として悔し涙をこぼすしかできないでしょう。はあ、老いたわしや。私には何もできず、こうして物陰から見守ることしかできないのです。
Okay. Okay. 1:30? Well, that's where I'm gonna have to leave it. Yep, that's when we'll continue this beach thing in the next episode at this point. Well, that was kind of sad going in. Oh, it's been up. Oh, I guess my thoughts were wrong. Nanjo became the final spot. Okay. Attending physician Nanjo. Kinjo's attending physician and longtime friend. He once ran a hospital in Nijima, but it turned over to his son and now enjoys his old age in peace, sorry. Now that Kinzo's constant suspicion has reached extraordinary heights, Nanjo is one of the very few people he trusts, obviously along with Genji. Thanks to Nanjo's big-hearted nature, he has been able to continue his friendship with Kinzo despite the latter's tendency to fly into a rage at the slightest provocation. Kinzo's first child, Ushirimiya Kraus, is the oldest person he leaves the family conference. However, the other siblings think he's trying to get all the inheritance for himself, and this further strains the tensions between them. He is a real estate investor and has put a lot of money into the development of a resort. However, his results have been harshly criticized. Okay then. Looks like everything's been filled up. Nothing seems to be added, I think. Okay. Well, that's where I'm gonna leave it. Holy crap. So we got ourselves a point where Kraus is essentially taking money from private funds for Kinzo. And the fact that Natsuhi wasn't able to bear a child at that time caused Ava to become extremely arrogant and kind of take advantage of the situation. And now she's just constantly holding that to Natsuhi and just basically torturing her with it. Honestly, I feel terrible for Natsuhi now. Like, I thought she was just a little, you know, irritated, but good lord, now I feel really bad for her. And Ava is just downright venomous. That's the only word I can... Well, I mean, I could say she's a bitch, but I'm gonna say that she's just venomous. That'd be the best word I can really say without resorting to cursing. Which, in the end, I ended up saying a curse. No, that's not good. Anyway. That's all the time I have for right now. But we'll be doing another episode of this tomorrow. Because I gotta take very careful precautions with Danganronpa. Very careful precautions. So, we'll leave this here. And thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you guys in the next video. Also, can't wait for the Elgato. Hopefully it comes in next week. So, look forward to that. See you later. In the next, or see you guys in the next video. Shit.